What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Clashing Conferences Network podcast. This is the members group. Excited to get together with this crew here for the first time to talk some basketball, a little bit of NBA, a little bit of college. We got March Madness coming up. Definitely one of my favorite times of year. That's a national holiday for me, pretty much, those first 4 days of the March Madness tournament. This is the members group. This is where, anybody from week to week can join our podcast that's part of the network. And to become a member of that network, all you got to do is go to theclashingconferences.com, fill out an easy to fill out form there. Everybody here has done it. That quickly you become part of the network. You can start joining shows and start your own show if you got a group of friends that wants to do something. Happy to have Sparrow Hair Studios as our sponsor. If you are in the Lancaster, PA area, please stop in there and grab a cut. You get a discount if you are part of the network. So another reason to go to theclashingconferences.com and fill out that form. And more sponsors coming, I hear. So we'll see about that in the future. Want to run around the room here real quick and quickly introduce you guys. If you want to take a minute to, tell us who you are and who your teams are. I'm going to start from top right here in my screen and we'll go clockwise. Got Karan up first. Tell us how you became a New York fan.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on again. So my name's Karan Kapoor. I've lived in New York my whole life. Been a diehard New York sports fan since probably I was 5 years old. The Knicks, the Mets, the Giants, the Rangers for what it's worth. So just really got into basketball at a very young age. Loved to play it as a kid. Watched, the early '90s Knicks teams, as I mentioned on the last time we did this, and then really took off from there. Just getting into the game. In school, things like that, growing up, going to Shea Stadium as a kid, my first Mets game, really loving those teams and then the Giants and just took off from there. So pretty passionate, I guess you could say. Try to go to as many things as I can, as many events as I can, and pick up as much knowledge and detail. And I'm just looking forward to hopefully one of those teams winning the title in the near future. So
Good deal.
Come on,
Next
can I
up,
ask
we
you a
got Cody.
question?
yeah,
Go
sure.
ahead, Tony.
I lived in New York for a little bit,
It's
and
better for this
when
one,
you
good.
said you grew up in New York, I was kind of interested. How do the people line up with these teams where it's like everybody's a Rangers, Knicks, Giants, Yankees fan, and then you got the Mets, Jets,
I'm not.
and Knicks? I don't know.
So
Are
I'm
you
not a
paying
Yankee
attention,
fan.
Tony?
You are.
I'm not. So I mean,
You're just the Met. You're the Mets, not the Yankees, right?
I'm a
Okay.
Giants, Mets, Knicks fan.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it just happened to fall that way. I mean, the Mets was the first baseball game I went to as a kid.
Mm.
Shea Stadium. I lived nearby, and it was easy to go. And I just, you know, that's why they named the last podcast the Bobby Bonilla podcast because I brought that up. So
Mm.
that was just one of the teams I latched onto. Maybe because they were orange and blue, and so were the Knicks were orange and blue. I don't know,
Mm.
but I was 5 years old, 6 years old, so that's why I grew attached to the Mets. And just like I said, growing up rooting for the Knicks, watching games, with my dad and stuff at home, the early '90s Knicks with Ewing and all those guys. So it was just an easy team to root for. And then just with football, just latched onto the Giants, just being one of the teams that I visited as a kid. So that's really
Mm.
how I came of it. Just
Mm.
never got
Good
into
deal.
rooting for the Yankees. Just living in Long Island, living in Queens, I just grew attached to the Mets.
All right, Cody. I think anybody that's watched this show knows who you root for, but tell them anyway.
For the CATS, cats. The only team that matters. Okay? The
The
mecca of
Ohio
college
Bobcats?
basketball.
For
No,
anybody that hasn't been paying attention, you want to tell which cats that is?
that is the Kentucky
Oh,
Wildcats. The
I thought he
mecca,
meant the
the
Carl
gold
Anthony
standard.
Towns. Well, okay.
Oh, that
Not
too.
the Ohio Bobcats?
No, not the Ohio, but I don't even know who
What
that is.
about
They're
what
copiers.
about the old Charlotte Bobcats? If we're going Bobcats.
Now, we could, yeah, because Kid Gilchrist did play for the Bobcats when they
There
were
you
the
go.
Bobcats.
There you
So,
go. He's the number
Uh,
3 draft pick, I think,
yeah,
for us.
I'll
That
take
didn't
that.
work out the way it was supposed to,
No,
unfortunately.
He's a
not at all.
bum.
Yeah, he peaked. He peaked in college. That's, it's okay though. He got us a natty. I'm cool with it.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting some March Madness with you. And that next up, we got Patty. You've done a lot of different things on this show, but tell us who your basketball teams
Yep.
are.
My basketball teams. I'm a Celtics fan, NBA, and
Woo, woo, woo.
I am a Notre Dame fan for college basketball, but they're terrible. So right now, I'm just a fan of Iowa State and Texas Tech for no reason that we can mention on the podcast. Absolutely no reason at all. But I really like those two teams to go all the way. Uh, and despite what some people might think in here, I do like throwing responsibly some small money on Louisville every time they play because they're very good.
That's ridiculous.
Oh,
What the wild
That
comment?
hurts. That
Listen, Louisville covers, Kentucky doesn't cover. You just tell me.
Hey,
That's all I'll say.
I
I
don't
mean,
remember
I don't even
seeing
have an
Louisville
argument.
on past slips that you send us.
Listen,
You
that
gotta
that
start
kid
sharing
Chucky
that.
Hepburn for Louisville's nice. I'm telling you right now. We'll talk about him a little bit
I
later.
agree with
That kid
that.
Chucky
I
Hepburn's
agree with
nice.
that.
I don't want to say it.
Next up, we got Ben. Ben has been on once before on the basketball podcast, actually, recently, and he is a Celtics fan. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you became a Celtics fan, Ben.
oh man. Well, it just, growing up, in Boston, not Boston, far from Boston, but in Massachusetts. I'm a masshole born and bred, and my dad kind of got me into sports and the Celtics and all the Boston teams growing up. And then obviously 2008 when we won our 17th title. That was kind of like a peak moment for me. That's kind of like enshrined in me, or I can't even find the right words. You may it's just part of you. It's the culture. You talk about in Massachusetts the weather, donkeys, and then you got Boston sports and home of the reigning champs, baby. It's all about 19.
We shall see. I think Karan might have some words for you at some point about that.
Just
Yeah,
get me
yeah.
to the
Well,
just get me there. Just get me against Boston in the conference final. I'll be happy.
You
That's
gotta
all I
get past
want.
Indiana first. Gotta get past Indiana with
That's what.
bum ass Halliburton this year.
I
Just get me
gotta
there.
touch on college real quick. Ben, one of Ben's picks of the night in our group chat was Villanova plus a bunch of points, which is looking pretty good with less than a minute left. I'm a
I'm watching that
UConn
one.
fan, and Nova's putting a scare into me, but we're up
Yeah,
4 with a minute left. I'm hoping to close this out here. We'll see what happens.
they've been dominating most of the game. UConn just took the lead like in the last few
Yeah,
seconds.
yep, absolutely. It was looking real
Hey,
ugly for a while there. We were down 10 plus for a
hey,
minute.
you can win all you want as long as we get in that 10.5 range. We're more
Yep,
than okay.
cover, cover.
You
Let's
should be
go,
okay.
baby. Let's
And
go.
last but not least, we got Tony P, legendary Tony P. We know you rule. You run with all your hometown teams. Tell us who they are.
Yeah, so as far as basketball goes, I'm a big Milwaukee Bucks fan, the last team to hold up the NBA trophy in the NBA. Mid-season champs, still rocking that. We're coming back to gear up for the second half of the season. All-Star break coming back nice and healthy, even though Damian Lillard lost on
Oh
a
my god.
three-point contest to a civilian right off the street. That was pretty embarrassing. But
Oh my
and
gosh.
then my first sports memory growing up for the Bucks was Ray Allen and the Bucks when we went all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals and we got taken out by Allen Iverson. That was my coming into the Bucks, and we went all the way to 7 games. But I mean, we would have got smashed by the Lakers anyways. But and then basketball, it's Wisconsin Badgers and Marquette Golden Eagles, and we're both two good teams right now. And Wisconsin's got a big game against Illinois tonight. Hopefully, everybody's looking out for that one. And Marquette's playing Seton Hall tonight. And my sneaky future, Patty, and I love to hear about it, is Michigan State. I really think Michigan State's going to win the tournament this year.
They're a great second half team. They're so abysmally bad in the first half. It is crazy.
As long as they win tonight, we're okay.
Yep, I got him tonight too. Let's go.
My
All
Tony,
friend's
right.
a
we'll
big
see.
my
We'll see
friend's a big
Marquette
state
soon.
guy, and he always says how bad they are in the first half, like every week.
Tony, we'll see Marquette soon in the Big East against St.
Yeah.
John's.
Oh, yeah. It's in the Garden, right? The tournament's in the Garden every year, right? So,
Couple of
yeah.
weeks, yeah. Couple of weeks.
St. John's they
Karan's
put a beat
been
down on
we
us last
talked
time we
about
played
this on
them.
the last basketball. Tony, Karan was on the last basketball podcast with us when you weren't on one week, and he's been to some of those tournaments in the
I've been to the
Garden.
Big East the last couple of years at the Garden. It's been a lot of
Mm,
fun. So,
Yeah.
that's pretty sick.
yep. It'll be a lot of fun this year with St. John's doing what they're doing, and obviously with Villanova flavor with all the Knicks and UConn being the back-to-back champs, and there's just a lot of good teams in the conference this year.
That place is electric every year for the Big East Conference. New
Hmm.
York fans in general come out for that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
It's
always
the
been that
Patino
way. For as
effect.
long as I can remember, it's been that
I
way.
hope he stays. Just hope he stays.
Maybe
Best
he'll
time
Oh,
come
of the
back.
year.
I want to know what you guys thought about the All-Star game. A lot of conversation out there in the media about, how to fix it if it needs fixing. Mac McClung, we got a G-Leaguer, three-time champ of the dunk contest because all the stars are afraid to do it, which that's the one thing that makes me the most upset. Jordan did it, Kobe did it, all the best players of other generations did it, and LeBron for his whole 20-year career ducked it, and I think the
Continues
stars
to
should do. I think
retweet,
more stars should
retweet.
do the
Yeah, let's
dunk
put 40-year-old
contest.
LeBron in the dunk
No,
contest.
we
Let's keep
shouldn't.
doing
We
Mike,
that.
shouldn't. But he should have
Then
when he
do you
was
retire.
remember
younger,
Just
LeBron
Patty.
when he did
retire.
that
No,
dunk?
just
And
retire.
some
Oh,
of these
he's
some of
too
these
old to
other
play. Please
guys should be
retire.
out there as well. What do you
Yeah.
guys think,
Let's get LeBron, Aaron
Ben?
Gordon, Zach LaVine, and take your pick who the next best one is. Let's get
The
a.
ghost of Julius
Oh,
Irving.
excuse me.
Hey,
Excuse me.
Le-
Sorry, Steve.
LeBron at 40 or not? Tell me that's not must see TV if you put the four guys that Ben just mentioned out there.
Yes, I agree. I don't disagree.
I don't really think anybody will watch it. Maybe if
Put
you put a
Edwards in
Kentucky
there if you're
player
going
in
to do
there.
that.
The best TV since the decision.
Cody, do you
I
have a
think, Mike,
Kentucky
I
player that could
think,
fix the dunk contest? Can you think of anybody to throw in there?
I mean, really anybody that ever
Anybody?
dons
Okay.
Kentucky across their chest. But I'm not on to that. We did win the 3-point contest, so we'll let somebody else have the dunk contest.
Okay.
Malik Monk's got some hop in him. I wouldn't mind seeing
Yeah,
him as a
absolutely.
dark
Can
horse.
we just acknowledge
Um,
that was like one
my
of the
pick.
sickest dunks I've ever seen? Are you kidding me? He jumped
Which
over
one?
a car, leapfrogged, and then went under the hoop and then back dunked it in. Dude,
It
LeBron
it
All
James
right, ain't
wasn't.
that
cannot
old
do
I'm
this.
news?
not. I take nothing away from Mac McClung as a dunker. He's incredible. I
That
just
was
But
wish
it's a
an
that like
remake.
insane
real
dunk. I watched
NBA
that
it was not
dunk
a
a
remake.
thousand
were the
times.
ones competing in the dunk contest, and not somebody who's not even on an NBA team.
Agreed. NBA All Star Weekend, not G League weekend.
Who was the one that
I would
jumped
love to
over the
see
car?
Blake
Blake
Mac,
Griffin.
Griffin jumped over the hood.
Mac
Mac
McClung.
McClung jumped over the
I'm with
car.
you, Karan. Can he still jump?
Yeah.
He got some bad knees.
He did the car, but my pick would have been like I would love to see a guy like John Morant do it because I've seen him dunk in the game, and
Yeah.
like that guy can jump through a
Yes,
roof.
he can
Yeah,
jump.
Anthony
Right
And
there.
Edwards.
he did tweet after the game and this is not the first time it's happened because LeBron's done it too, where he promises he'll do it, he never did it. But after this past dunk contest, I know John Morant had written like, "Oh, now Max got me. I gotta join next year." Then Giannis came and said, "If you do it, I'll do it." Then they reached out, and Aaron Gordon said, "Oh, I still got something left in the tank." And Zach LaVine retweeted that. So there's been some chatter after that. I don't know if you guys have seen it. You guys want to look it up, but there has been some talk with some of those guys after this past dunk
Okay.
contest. I guess Mac got
That
some of
would
these
be
guys'
interesting.
If
spirits
Giannis
lifted.
gets
So
in,
I
if
hope Giannis and John Morant. I mean, I know Levine was one of the best ones I've seen. Him and Aaron Gordon, 6, 7 years ago.
Absolutely.
But I would
for
love to
sure.
see Morant and Giannis in it for sure.
Whoever was in charge of the All Star Weekend that weekend for the NBA, get them back. Like it has not been the same since then. But low key, if Giannis gets in the dunk contest, he's going to be jumping from the 3-point line.
Hmm.
I mean, he already takes 3 strides and he covers half court. Like, it's insane. It's ridiculous. I would love him in the dunk contest.
What do you think, Tony? You signing off on that?
I mean, I'm signing off on that, but Mike, you know me. Part of me is thinking about him snapping an ankle on the way down on the dunk contest, which makes me pretty
I think
nervous.
that's why most of these guys don't want to do it. You
Which
Yeah.
know, like,
is, that's just, that's
I
I mean, it's
I
bullshit.
hate that's the
possible, but I
reality. I
mean,
mean,
That is
you got it in
bullshit.
baseball too. Most of these guys don't want to do the home run derby. They think it messes up their swing. It ruins their, they don't want to get embarrassed. I think they just don't want to get embarrassed on the dunk contest to lose to a G leaguer. If McClung won with all those guys that were just in it,
Yeah,
I
that's why
mean
we don't do it.
that would kill their psyche.
And it'll just be the Mac McClung weekend every year then. That'll just become a meme
I
at
say
that point.
if they don't want to get if they can't get superstars to do it, just bring up any G leaguer, any guy from and one, anybody that still plays at Rucker Park. Those guys will still high fly more than the NBA players will. Because
I
McClung
Oh,
would have
agree.
yeah.
won. McClung would have won no matter what. He was the only one that made his dunks. If you guys actually watched it from the
Yeah,
beginning, the first
yeah.
two guys took 2 minutes and missed every dunk they had. So the guy from the Spurs was decent. The guy who made the finals, I forgot his name.
Castle.
Castle?
Yeah, he
Castle.
was
Castle,
decent.
Stephon Castle. He was good. But the other two guys that played, A, neither of them really made a dunk, and B, you couldn't tell me their names right now if you tried. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the
I
first
mean,
weekend I haven't known like all of the participants. Who were the other two?
Well, Andrew Jackson Jr. He's on the
Matus
Milwaukee
couldn't tell
Bucks.
you.
He was the captain
Bazilis.
of the UConn Husky championship team. Let's not act like he's a nobody. All right.
Come on. I mean, you got to admit, he
Andrew
did not have a
Jackson
good showing
Jr.
at the dunk contest.
I mean, obviously,
He was a
there
he
are
played for
wide ranging
UConn. There
players in
were
the
two
NBA
two
between
guys from
Andrew
UConn's
Jackson and
championship
LeBron.
team
Obviously,
last year.
Well,
It's
wait.
Andre Jackson.
So McClung,
Andrew Jackson.
Castle, Andrew Jackson,
Andre
Andrew
And
I don't
Jackson.
think it's
Jackson.
Andre
Andre
Andrew.
Jackson.
Jackson. And the
The guy
other
on the
guy's
20?
name was
This is
Matus
my point. This is
Bazilis, I
why we
think.
need, God forbid, LeBron, as much as I hate him, Levine, Gordon, and then take your pick. Maybe expand it if all the All-Stars do it. It's always been 4, but if all of them agree to do it, like you're telling me you wouldn't watch
That
that
would
on a
be
Saturday?
awesome if every All-Star had to go out and do some dunk.
Yeah.
That would be great. Or at this point, just call people from college. If they ain't got a game, they could compete for money or something like that because they get paid now. So throw some money on the table and let the
Yeah.
best dunkers in
Yeah.
college do it.
What about the actual game? What did you guys? I mean, I'm not expecting you guys to have all watched it,
I didn't
but I
watch it.
mean, they broke it up into 4 teams this year and tried to add the one thing I didn't like about what they did this year was letting a rookie squad in.
Yeah, that's stupid.
I agree. I don't remember if it was Draymond. Somebody was talking about, how hard it was to get to
Draymond.
play on Sunday of the All-Star weekend, and now just letting, 8 rookies and young guys into it is an odd situation. But I kind of agreed with that stance on it.
It wasn't I didn't watch it. I
I
saw
didn't.
highlights of it, and I give the NBA credit for trying to change it up a little bit, but they really went over the top with the amount of changes in this year's game, in my opinion. You had 4 different teams. I had no idea that they were doing that till Sunday because Towns and Brunson were both wearing different uniforms. And I said, they're both from the same
Like, what's
team.
going on?
Like, why are they not wearing the same uniform? But I didn't realize that Brunson was on one captain's team and Towns was on the other. Then, like you said, you had the rookies in, and it was first to 40. The thing I took away from it the most, which a lot of people said on social media, was there was just too many breaks. There
Mhm.
was too many stoppages. Apparently, there was a lot of commentary from like Kevin Hart. There was some breaks in the middle where they had like that shooting contest with Damian Lillard and that fan, which took a long time. They had stuff with inside the NBA with commemorating them with their
Yeah,
final season. So it was
it
just too
went a
many
little long.
stoppages. It just and no one there was no flow to the games at all. So that's what that was the
Saw
main
like
feedback that I saw.
a TikTok. I guess it was SGA. You could tell he was irritated because Kevin Hart just kept yapping, and it looked like I didn't watch it, but I saw that clip. But SGA just had the look on his face because Kevin Hart would not shut
Yeah.
up, and I was like, "That's horrible."
They said that by 11
The
o'clock
whole the
Eastern,
whole
they only
intermission
played.
thing went very long.
They said that by 11 o'clock Eastern, they only played 16 minutes of like actual basketball time. Crazy.
Ugh,
Mm-hmm.
that, it's
Sounds
it's
about right.
just sickening.
Yeah,
I
the
don't.
Yeah.
games went so fast. I mean, 40 points is like less than a quarter of your average NBA All-Star game. They both put up like 250 points last year. Both sides in the All-Star game, if I remember right. It was ridiculous. So
Yeah.
a game to 40 is nothing. It's over in like 4 or 5 minutes.
I mean, well,
Especially
Jason
Yeah,
Tatum
Steph
couldn't miss
Curry
a
out
shot
there
either.
shooting the lights out.
I don't usually watch the whole game. I usually watch at least some of it before I just lose interest for them just jogging around, alley-ooping, turnovering. I didn't watch a single second this year. I was just so uninterested.
Do you hear that Tatum
Yeah,
got
I
Get
snubbed
didn't
give
watch
it
again,
any
back to
of
the
it.
or what?
Celtics. Snubbed for what?
Well, he scored the most
The
points, and they
MVP.
gave it to Steph Curry for MVP.
Ah,
Yeah,
because he had the
Tatum was
most
like
Hometown,
lights
threes.
out.
the
He missed
hometown
like two
flavor.
shots the whole game.
I believe Tatum has won an All-Star Game MVP, if I'm not
But there ain't no
mistaken.
defense, I don't think, in these games. I don't know. At least last time I watched one, there wasn't no
Yeah.
defense.
No, it's
There's
not.
Yeah.
no
No.
Here's
competition.
your All-Star Game MVP for scoring the most points in a game nobody's trying. Cool. Yeah. Uh,
You
awesome.
had
Yeah, congrats.
I was
no.
let's shift for a minute to actual basketball instead of fake all-star stuff. I was
Mm,
just looking up the standings, and I'll be honest, I was a little surprised to see how far out ahead the Cavs are right now. I did
Yeah,
not realize that they were up that many games on both the Celtics and the Knicks. I kind of thought it was a three-way race, but them at 44-10, that's a scary
what
eight
was it?
fifteen winning percentage.
hmm
Was it a 15 game win streak to start the year?
Yeah,
I believe.
yeah. But I mean, that's
Yeah,
still
so
even 30 and 10 cents then. That's, no, yeah, it'd be like 30 and 10 cents then. That's still a crazy number.
hmm
yeah,
You
they're
guys,
legit.
Karan and Ben, you guys worried about the Cavs at all? You guys are next up in the East.
I mean, the
Yeah, I'm
Celtics
I,
worried
should beat
about.
the
I'm
crap
worried
out of
about.
them.
Go ahead, Ben.
I've been worried about the Cavs for a few years, going back to before the Celtics got Porzingis and Holiday. I mentioned this on the first podcast. There was one year between Cleveland and Boston where I believe every game went to overtime. They played 4 times in the regular season. I believe all four were either last minute or overtime. And one of them, Grant Williams, thought he was the greatest player ever. And I don't know if you guys remember Grant Williams at All Star Weekend. Not this year, maybe. I didn't even know if he was there, acting like he's like a top 30 All NBA player. It's like, well, buddy, no, know your place, Grant Williams. But he like pretty much like made like a oh, I'm better than you move in the game. I don't remember exactly what it was, but then he bricked the next 2 free throws talking to Mitchell, and then the Celtics end up losing in overtime. And I just never liked Grant Williams again after that.
I
But
hated
yeah,
Grant Williams.
the Cavs have been building up the last few years. They've kind of ascended this year. We'll see if they can make some noise in the playoffs. But I mean, as much as I don't like to praise the Knicks, they were the only team that did enough to even come close to the Celtics this past
Coming from a
offseason.
Celtics fan. Wow. Okay.
You can win the offseason. We'll win the titles. It's okay. You can
Hey,
get GM of the year, whoever the Knicks GM is.
Leon
We'll
Rose.
take our 19th title. Thank you very much.
Uh-oh. Well,
I
now,
hated Williams at
Karan, now you
Tennessee.
got to touch on the Cavs and the Celtics.
Listen, the Cavs are legit. I mean, they're not a fluke winning 40 out of 50 games or whatever it is. They have a legit head coach this year with Atkinson. Thank you, Brooklyn, for donating them to Cleveland. And Donovan Mitchell's a stud. Garland's playing well. They're a big team. They got a lot of tall guys. I mean, they're a legit threat. I don't take them lightly at all. You know, Between them and Boston, listen, for me, if as a Knicks fan, do I hope one of those teams just gets knocked out before we have to face them in a playoff round somehow, some way. I don't obviously see that happening, but if I want the Knicks to make the conference finals, then either Cleveland or Boston has to get eliminated before that to happen. So if the season ended today, I think the Knicks match up with like the Pistons or something like that. But obviously, there's 30 games still left to go. After that, is it a rematch with Indiana? Philly, as bad as they played this year, they still kind of scare me. Just because if Embiid comes back and actually plays, and
Yep.
they sneak into that seventh or eighth seed somehow,
Yep.
that does scare me because that was a really brutal physical matchup with the Knicks last year, which took a lot out of them, and eventually, that was their calling when they just lost everybody against Indiana. So
I feel
Philly
like
scares me.
Embiid has nothing to lose. He might take out your entire front
He
court
might.
this year.
I mean, if all they got to do is get in. They're not that far from just being one of the last seeds. They've had an awful year, but they can get somehow into the play-in tournament or the eighth seed. Then they have enough star power on that team to turn things around in a hurry. So Philly scares me. Cleveland scares me. Boston. Listen, this is the best season the Knicks have had in a long time. So I'm not taking that for granted. But if we can somehow get to the conference final, I'll be happy. I
Mike,
promise.
where are the Bucks
Yeah,
at
I
right now?
saw the
What?
Bucks
Yeah.
Bucks
are
are the fifth
in
seed.
fifth right now.
Okay, we're
They're
not even
not
gonna
that far
bring them
back,
up. And we
Tony.
literally
You
just
guys are
mentioned every
relevant.
team besides the Bucks in that little segment. Like nobody cares about them at all. Like Giannis is gonna play. Like,
We were getting to you. We were getting to you. I mean, what do you think? What's going to happen here after your little trade that you made?
I think we're gonna come back up. Dude, Kuzma last game of the season, or last game before All-Star break, last two drives had the assist to win the game and then the game-winning shot against Minnesota. We need that. We've been
So
on a West Coast.
his
That's
We've been on a West Coast trip
fifth and
Yeah,
for
sixth
a
wins
month
for the
and a
here
Wizards.
we
half.
go.
Listen,
that's an
I'm telling you, we're
impactful
out of the West
first
Coast
week.
now. We get to play the East. We get to come back in the East. We're coming back healthy. They were resting their players to get like a little break before the All-Star break. As long as we stay healthy, I mean, I feel like we're just as good as any of those other teams you mentioned. Just as good. Giannis
Mm,
just
yeah,
Giannis just Giannis has had like 30 straight double doubles. That is not an exaggeration. Like 30
Giannis
straight
is
double
just as
doubles.
good as anybody. I
good
don't
for my
know that the
fantasy team. Thank you,
Bucks are
Giannis.
as
I
good as
appreciate that.
anybody.
I mean, listen, you get in the playoffs, you see what happens. Get the right matchup, your teams get injured. Listen, I like this team. It's our last shot. And we got to win in the first round. I mean, you guys might have expectations to go to the championship or the Eastern Conference Finals. If we get knocked out in the first round 4 years in a row, they're going to blow this team up. They're going to blow it up. So I have to feel good about this team this year.
Yep. Where's Giannis going if that happens?
New York.
I keep seeing the Bulls. I keep seeing like Bulls like
Karan's with open
Photoshop,
arms.
but
I think most teams would be with open arms if Giannis went on the open market. I was just looking, trying to think of who I would pick in the East over him, and outside of maybe Tatum, I don't know if there's anybody that if I was starting a team today, I'd take over Giannis. He's a beast.
he's
Dude's
an
a
animal.
beast. I will say that.
Yeah,
He needs to hit some
I don't
free
even
throws
watch
Pat.
that
because
much
that's pretty
NBA.
frustrating. But watching him shoot 40% from the line is pretty frustrating. But he's other than that, he's a beast.
Patty, I want to know your NBA opinion. I think everybody else is very clear on who they think is going to win. What do you think for this year in the NBA?
I mean, I think it's the Celtics' title to lose. The team that scares me the most is Oklahoma City. I just think they're a matchup nightmare for Boston. I think in the East, like Cleveland and the Knicks have put themselves in a position to succeed. Cleveland's very guard dependent. Like their bigs are going to get theirs. Mobley's going to get his, and Jared Allen's going to get his. So if you can limit Garland and Mitchell, you can beat them. But if their guards take over and Donovan Mitchell scores 30, 35, you're in trouble. So, same with the Knicks. Like, I feel like that Towns is going to get his, and that Brunson's going to get his. So with the Knicks in a playoff series is going to come down to, what they get out of Bridges and what they get out of Hart in a playoff series. And obviously Hart's been phenomenal and everything like that. So I'm excited. I mean, I think that the West is I think people aren't talking about the West enough. I think that Oklahoma City, I think that The Lakers aren't done. I think that Houston is young and not enough people are talking about them. But I mean, I think that the NBA, the one thing that the NBA does is come playoff time, everyone on the NBA, everyone craps on the NBA, but when playoff time comes, it's one of the best products in the playoffs that there is. So I say Boston, but I would not be surprised to see Oklahoma City raising a banner this
That's
June.
why I shout out Memphis. I've been seeing a lot of Memphis games. They are nasty. What's it, JJJ, their small forward?
They go as
He-
far as Ja and Jaron Jackson Jr. take them,
yeah.
but yeah,
That is
I
the
mean, they're
other
the
team
second
whose
highest scoring
record
team in the
most
NBA.
surprised me when I was looking at this, Tony. That's a good call. They're second in the West right now.
Yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
they scored a lot of points and quick.
Yeah,
And
they
they're
got a great head
young.
coach too.
So young.
Who's their coach, Karan? Do you know? I don't.
No, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he was one of the assistants. He's been there for a long time now.
KC.
Okay.
No,
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 Memphis.
Memphis is.
the
It's not
scruffy
Taylor
looking guy.
Jenkins, right? Taylor
Not
Jenkins used to
anymore.
coach them.
Not anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Fall Boy K. I don't remember his name.
Oh, it is. I'm sorry. It is Taylor Jenkins. I apologize. It
Okay.
is.
Okay.
Oh, let's go.
Ben
Woo!
I
pulling one
apologize.
out.
It is.
I'm taking you on my
Um,
trivia team.
Look, the West. I mean, I never sleep on Denver. They still got one of the best players in the league. So, I mean, he's a walking
Absolutely.
triple double. The only reason I didn't mention any teams in the West is only going to see them in the finals, which means the Knicks made it to the finals. So
Yeah.
I'm not really worried about it until we get that far. But
You'll
yeah, I
take
mean,
any, if you're
I'll
that
take
far,
it.
you'll
I,
take
I don't care.
anybody
I
against
don't
you,
care who
right?
we play in the finals if we
just,
get to the finals.
just get me
So
there.
no,
get me
I
there.
agree,
Get
Kron.
me.
I think that's kind
Yeah.
of the difference. Like, and that's not a knock on the Knicks. Is that the Knicks? A win for the Knicks is Eastern Conference Finals, and everything after that is golden. The Celtics are title or bust, so I have to talk more about the Western Conference than I do about getting. And that's not a knock on the Knicks. That's just where their franchises are at
Yeah, it's
right
just
now. When
reality.
you're trying to
So
repeat, you're worried about what's coming on the other side. Like last year, obviously Boston won, but Denver is not a good matchup for them either. But we'll see. I mean, I think that's the Knicks have put themselves in a winning position. I worry a little bit about their bench depth, despite what Topher says. I think that Mitchell Robinson is great, but when is the next Mitchell Robinson injury? And I'm not wishing injury on anyone, but like he's a walking crutch, like just by the style of he plays. Now last year, and I wouldn't take it away from him, last year his injury was because Embiid was playing like an absolute bum, and then he tripped him. That's not on Mitchell Robinson. But the man is literally the dude from SpongeBob that's like, every night I break my arms and every day I break my legs
Don't
and
tell,
my skin's
don't
made
tell
of
Chris that
paper.
he's counting on him to save the
Yeah.
Knicks whole
listen,
season.
we are counting on him. I'm not gonna lie. What you said is 100% right. The only thing I have to lean on with that is Mitchell's good for 35 to 40 games a year, and he hasn't played a single game yet. So I'm hoping that those 35 to 40 games will close out the season, and
My
you
gosh.
know
That's
make it
the
to the
good
playoffs.
That's a
That's
logic.
what
good
I'm
Good
hoping. He gets his
rationale.
logic.
34. So if he's good for
Wow.
40 games, we're good for the rest of this season.
Yeah,
Yeesh.
until
Better
you got
late
to
than
play
never.
Embiid and he just starts hanging on everybody's legs because he got nothing to lose.
But yes, you're right. The depth is something that they didn't do enough at the deadline. I think they should have. Listen, they don't have a lot of assets left. I don't know what you could have given up, but they should have reassured the bench a little bit. Maybe there was nothing out there. Maybe the cost was too high. So we'll see what happens this offseason. Or maybe they really are banking a lot on Mitch. I don't know, but that
It's
is a
also
concern.
hard because obviously, like you look at the Celtics, like they built their depth a lot through free agency and getting, except for Pritchard, obviously, but the way a lot of the NBA champions over the last 5 years have had that seventh, eighth, nine man that they can count on to come in. Like the Celtics are getting minutes out of Luke Cornett right now.
Former
Luke
Nick
Cornett,
Luke Cornett.
like that's
Luke
and
Cornett greater than Mitchell Robinson.
and that's the Joe Mazzulla effect to me. Like that's what Joe
That's the
Mazzulla does. That's what Thibodeau does. Is he makes these guys better than what. Like I love Josh Hart, and I think that he's so valuable. But like, holy crap, Josh Hart owes everything in his career to Tom Thibodeau. everything in his career to Tom Thibodeau for what he's done for his career and
Yeah, listen.
elevated his game
The
to.
Celtics are loaded 1-8. The Knicks are loaded 1-5. I get it. That's the main difference.
That's
That's what's
fair.
going to separate them. The Knicks have the best offense. The Knicks have one of the best starting fives in the league, but they
Agreed.
also
Yeah,
have the worst bench in the league too. So that's just statistics.
Well, that
I don't
sucks.
Play
know. I
Tyler
don't know about the
Cole.
worst bench in the league. Maybe the worst playoff bench in the league.
No. They this year they have the worst statistical bench in basketball. It's
Okay.
just a fact
Well, I
with
mean, they're
minutes
not getting
played,
any
points, all
minutes.
that
If
stuff.
you're, yeah, I mean, if
So
you're just talking off stats, I mean, because they're not playing a lot of minutes, they're obviously going to be rated low on a lot of those things. But well,
Get
we got about 10 minutes left here. I want to shift gears. I think it's Cody's time to shine. Let's get into a little bit of college basketball before we get out of here. Last couple minutes, Cody, give us a Kentucky state of Kentucky report.
It was a heartbreaking loss to Texas, but we are missing both of our guards. So, uh, hopefully they're back tomorrow, which I don't think they will be. Maybe Butler. Butler is a very iffy chance. I don't think Robinson will be back. And when Brea don't hit threes, we suck. We suck so bad. And it is scary because if we go down like that, I mean, we could beat top 10 teams all day, every week. And the moment we go to an unranked team, we get manhandled, and I don't understand it. I, I don't understand it,
Well, you
but I think
just
we'll
got
be
to make
fine.
sure you get through that first weekend. You can win a
Yeah,
championship in the tournament,
Make sure you don't play
well,
Coach
we
Cal
will
either.
right?
win the championship. Yeah.
Unless you lose to St. Peter's again.
Hey, this is a new
Or
era. I got
Arkansas
hope
again.
and Pope. All right, hope and Pope. That was just a bluff. We just let him have it to feel good about himself. All right, Cal. Cal's good in the regular season. He's not good in the tournament. He got one championship, right? Yeah, with us because he didn't get one in Memphis, right? No, because
He
that got
lost in the
no.
championship. Yeah.
Yes,
They lost the national title game at Memphis.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then didn't that get like taken away from him?
was that the
Right?
free throw game?
That
That's the
was the
free throw
Derrick
game.
Rose. It
That
technically got like taken away for recruiting
that also
violations.
got taken away. Yeah. So
Hmm.
Yeah, he's made a habit of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
except
yes, absolutely. That's an understatement.
except at
UMass,
Kentucky.
Memphis, Kentucky.
Whoa, hey, we didn't get nothing. Hey, let's.
Yeah, yeah.
Cody, I will
Hey,
say
It's only
this.
2025.
Cody,
hey.
I will say this that it's to me, maybe you could argue it, but the SEC is by and clear the best conference in college basketball this year, and
Hmm.
Yes.
it's
Not
not
even
close.
close. No.
What
Auburn,
is it?
Yeah.
One,
Auburn,
two,
Alabama,
three,
Mizzou,
four.
Kentucky, State,
Tennessee,
Texas A&M, Tennessee, and there's one
Vanderbilt's
more. There's two
good.
more ranked teams. Georgia's just outside the top
Vanderbilt,
25.
Mississippi State, or
Texas,
No, Vanderbilt's not. Mississippi State.
Texas Tech. Are they?
it's the
Uh, Ole
it's
Miss is
deep
ranked.
and top heavy. It's the best of both worlds. You're right. There's no better
Florida.
conference. It's not even
Florida's
close.
number 2 in the country right now.
50% of the top 10 is SEC.
Yeah.
It's like an NBA league out there. It really is. It's insane.
I
You could
can't
watch any
believe
SEC game.
I can't believe how much the ACC has fallen off as a league.
Bad year this year for them, Mike.
Yeah, I
Bad year.
mean,
Clemson,
God.
no UNC, and Duke. Clemson and Duke.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
that's
Louisville's pretty good. Like they'll make the tournament. Like I said, I like them as like they can score, but they can't play defense with a lot of teams, which will hurt
I'm
them in
right
the
here,
tournament.
Patty. I'm right here.
Listen, Cody, they can exist in the tournament. Like just because
They can
we talked
exist.
about the Baltimore Ravens for 5 weeks, I had to hear Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson. Now you're going to hear about Chucky Hepburn. You're going to sit in your seat. And you're going to like it. Okay.
Patty, is Chucky Hepburn's on Louisville now?
don't sleep on the Big East, fellas. Don't sleep on the Big East. The storm is coming.
And is
Dude,
it
they play
true?
such good defense, Karan. They're unreal on defense, dude.
And I don't know if it's true or not, but I've seen it multiple times this week that Patino came out and said that they should merge the what was it, the ACC and the Big East together and make a powerhouse conference to compete with like the SEC. I don't know how true that is or if it was fake news. I have no idea. But if that was to happen, that would be pretty cool to try to
it'll
compete.
it'll never happen because of football.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, the
Mm.
Big East,
Yeah.
Karan, not even just the Johnnies. Creighton can
Creighton,
score with
Marquette.
anyone, and
Marquette.
Marquette's a Big East team, right?
Marquette.
Like those four teams can all compete in March. Defense goes a long way. I think some people that aren't familiar with what St. John's is doing right now is they're very similar to Houston has been over the last couple of years, where they just play such deafening defense that if
Johnny's
you
are
can score
16-0 at
75
home.
on them, good luck because you ain't
Yeah,
doing it. Like they
yeah.
play deafening defense.
And I tell
They
you
got
who's
the
my
guard
kind of
Martin.
surprise is kind of Memphis with Penny. I'm a Penny fan.
Yeah,
He's 21
he's
and
got that
5.
team playing well.
Yeah, 21 and 5. Not bad.
Conference
Not
USA
bad.
is always good at college basketball, and they don't get talked about till tournament time.
Yep.
Like they always have solid. SMU is solid this year in basketball.
SMU's out of there
Uh
now. SMU's ACC now, baby.
oh yeah, you're right.
How do you guys keep track of all these
That's hard.
teams
I
and where
know
they
it is
move?
hard to keep track. You're absolutely right.
Cincinnati's Conference USA, aren't they?
I
Oh, they're
think you're
Big
I
right.
think
12.
so.
They're Big 12.
Oh,
Oh
you're
really?
right.
Cincinnati is
Good
part of the
call.
Big
Cincinnati's in the Big
12.
See,
12 now.
look, you can't. It's incredibly
Yeah.
Yeah.
hard to keep track
Yeah.
This is
anymore.
worse than football.
But it is
We're
crazy
gonna
to
get
look
to
at the top
conference
25.
tournaments and be like, oh wow, look at this matchup.
I don't know if
They were in
any
a
of you
whole different
guys
one.
are Cody. Like I don't know if any of you guys were Game of Thrones fans. I know Ben is because he talked about it in the chat earlier.
Oh
But
yeah.
there's a guy on TikTok. I'll have to share it in the group tomorrow. Every week he does this week in college basketball, but he's like a
Oh,
British guy and he does it like with the Game of Thrones music in the background. So he was talking about St. John's and he's like, a team of Johnnies defends their stronghold against blah 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 against a pack of wild Blue Jays, and it's so dope. It's the best thing on TikTok right now. Like,
and I think St.
Bum,
John's
bum,
will
bum, bum,
come to
bum, bum.
Kentucky next year because, Pope and Patino. I think that'll be a good matchup next year, hopefully. But I think that'll happen next year too. I think St.
if
John's will come.
if Duke puts up a stinker in the tournament, you think Shire's out or no?
No way.
Mm.
Oh no,
No.
no.
It's
Duke's
year
so
six. Isn't
loyal.
it
They
like year
won't
5 or
do
6 for
that.
him already?
Yeah, I don't
Already?
see him going yet.
Yeah,
Coach
they
I
gotta
didn't
have
know
a
you've
couple.
retired
been.
pre-COVID, didn't
Duke's
he?
so loyal.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
dude.
I
Yeah.
didn't realize it had been that many years. If it has,
He's definitely pre-COVID, so I think it's on year
okay,
5-ish
that
or
makes
around
sense.
there.
That makes sense if that's right.
I'm not saying that John Shire's a bad coach. I'm just saying that I don't know. Duke is obviously has expectations that not every school has.
As long as they beat UNC and keep recruiting the way he's recruiting, I think he's fine for a while.
Yeah, they keep
Yeah,
getting number one
I agree.
seeds. They'll be good.
Tough to follow a legend. It's tough to follow a legend like K.
Absolutely, Ben.
No,
I
he's
mean,
only
the
been there
same thing
two
can be asked
years.
about Hubert Davis, I guess. Like, if do you think that Hubert Davis is going to get X amount more years if they keep sticking up the joint? Like,
I ain't gonna last too much longer if they
Yeah, I
don't
think
get
that's
things turned
different.
around very quickly.
Tyler's only been there 2 years. He's only
oh,
been the
I'm
coach
off. My
for two
bad.
years. He was on there.
I thought he was pre-COVID. That's on me
Definitely
then.
pre-COVID.
No, he was there. He joined the staff in 2013.
Oh yeah, he's definitely been around for a long time.
Yeah, but he got the head coaching job 22-23 season.
I don't know. All these years just mixed together.
But it does seem like he's
Amen.
been there a long time, though. Uh,
Amen, Patty.
Wait until you get a little older, Patty. Right now, you can still remember every detail of every game. You're a wealth of knowledge. 10 or 15 more years, you're gonna be like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, well, that's my tism acting up. That's why I know everything. So,
you got a rhythm with the
Amen.
tism.
Amen, Patty. The best tism out there.
yeah, I mean,
I
listen,
I
I love
I love
college basketball is going to
your
be so
recollection
so
of
so
things.
good
You can
this year.
remember everything somehow.
College basketball is going to be so good this year. Like, and there's
We're
going
gonna
to be
have some
some teams
fire
that just come out of
episodes.
nowhere to. Oh, March is the best.
I'm gonna
I,
need you guys when it comes that week. I know nothing. I mean, I get the same results every year. Never enough upsets.
Just know the numbers. Take the 11 over the 6 and the
Yep,
5 over,
the 12 over the
the
Yep.
5.
Yep.
and
Yep,
Kentucky all the way. So you're good.
take
See,
the
we just told
14
you how to
over
fill
the
out your
3.
bracket.
bet against
We
Kentucky.
we
Yeah.
will
I'm here
definitely
again.
be
I'm still here.
doing we will
What
be
seed are they
definitely
gonna get?
doing a
For
clashing
another couple
conferences
weeks.
bracket we'll do something free to enter and just for
Beautiful.
bragging rights, or I'm sure we all probably have money brackets, but we'll do
Yeah.
one just for us as well that's free to enter and get some bragging rights and something we can talk about on future shows a little bit maybe, and talk some crap with each other. So let's get out of here. I think that's about our time for the night. I appreciate all you guys hopping on the members podcast again. Again, anybody watching, all you got to do is go to theclashingconferences.com. Very easy to get involved here with us. We'd love to have you, and looking forward to working with you guys for the next couple weeks and talking some basketball. Thanks, fellas.
Thanks,
See,
guys.
Can anyone
go
hear this?
Cyclones, baby.
I'm literally going to give you the play-by-play on how you would participate in this podcast in less than 15 seconds. Here we go. You download an app. Our content producer, content manager sends you a link. You hit the link. You record, and usually within 30 seconds, unless you have COVID internet, you're done. That's it. You do nothing else. Steve does all the work. He stays up late at night. He does the editing. App, click it, hang up. The end. So,
That's
again,
it.
I understand people don't want to take on any more work than they need to. You're not. So just keep
There
that
is
in
no
mind.
work. This is fun time.
Yes.
Sometimes a little bit of extra
Fun
work,
time.
maybe if you want to be the host. But if
Big
you just
facts.
want to be a team rep, come in here and talk about your team as easily as you talk about it with any one of your friends or rivals.